Yesterday in class, you discussed how to do a decimal times a whole number with shading, base 10 blocks, and a number line. We said that when we have a problem such as 4 times 2 tenths, we can show that because we can see that there are going to be 4 groups of 2 tenths. So I could show you there's 2 tenths, 2 tenths, 2 tenths, 2 tenths. So there are a total of 8 tenths. Unfortunately, when we get to a problem that has 2 decimals, for example, if I wanted to show you 4 tenths times 2 tenths, that becomes a little bit more difficult because I don't have a whole number of groups to use to show you that. So instead what we'll do is we will look at how we can draw a model of that. So I can show you that 4 times 2 is equal to 8 by showing you an array, which is 4 long by 2 wide. We're going to use that same idea, but we're going to use hundreds grids to represent that. So I want to show you a model that is, if we're still doing 4 tenths times 2 tenths, I want one side to be 4 tenths long. So I'm going to shade in this as 4 tenths. So I want to represent that as 4 tenths long. And then I also want it to be 2 tenths wide. So I'm going to shade in 2 tenths this way. The part that is overlapping in color, so here's my 2 tenths by 4 tenths. Because essentially I'm taking a part of a part, my number is going to get smaller. So my answer is everything that gets double shaded. So my answer is 8 hundredths, because each of these little squares is equal to 1/100th, and there are 8 of them shaded in. So if we look at another problem, let's look at 6 tenths times 3 tenths. So I want one side to be 6 tenths. So 2, 3, 4. So I'm showing you that this part of my array is 6 tenths. And then I want the other part to be 3 tenths. And again, whatever we have overlapping, because that's the part that represents both the 6 tenths long and the 3 tenths wide, because this part represents, this length represents 3 tenths and this represents 6 tenths. Then I'm going to count these up, and you can see that there are 18 hundredths blocks shaded in. So 6 tenths times 3 tenths is 18 hundredths. Let's do one more together. Let's do 5 tenths times 5 tenths. So I want one side to be 5 tenths long. And the other side is going to also be 5 tenths long. And again, everything that's overlapping in color, which is this box here, is what our area is. Because again, I want 5 tenths to be represented here and 5 tenths here. And then you can see that I have 25 hundredths. You may see a model that doesn't shade all the way across, and they just shade 5 tenths this way, and then 5 tenths this way. So they'll shade one, and then they just do, and then they just do the other here. And they don't shade all the way down. Either way you do it is fine. I like to shade all the way down just so that I can clearly see how many tenths are my length and how many are my width. So again, we're going to crochet to do 10th times 10th multiplication. And remember that your answer is going to get smaller because we are multiplying by numbers that are less than 1. Hope this helps you do your homework tonight.